I'm Jake with SendCutSend. Welcome back to our series on the technical side of bending. Every day, SendCutSend bends tens of thousands of parts, so we know a thing or two about bending. So let's get into it.
Check it out.
On this lesson, we're going to be diving into the idea of ductility versus brittleness. Now, this is lesson 5. If you haven't seen the first 4 lessons, go ahead and pause it now. Go take a look at those so that this all makes sense. So let's go over here to the board and let's go over to our key terms to start this lesson. Now, we're going to be adding 4 new key terms. 2 of them are brittleness and ductility, which is the idea of this lesson, as well as stress and strain. We're going to be kind of simplifying these terms a little bit, but understanding where they come from is important. And then we're going to relate this back to K-factor, which is a term from our first video. So to start with, a lot of people understand that brittleness and ductility, right? We've heard those before just in kind of key topics, right? Glass is brittle, you know, rubber bands are ductile, right? They're stretchy and stuff. But what we're going to do is explain why certain materials we can bend, at SendCutSend especially, but just in generally speaking, and why materials that we can't bend. And what we're going to do is we're going to relate these back to 2 key terms that we're going to take over to a graph here in a second. The first one being is stress. Now, stress, other than like your work environment and stuff, also has different, definitions. On the stress that we're going to be talking about is going to be the force over the cross-sectional area. So if you cut that part in half or across the line that it's being pulled on, that's going to be that cross-sectional area. To simplify it on all the charts, even though it's not perfect, we're just going to rely on the idea of force. So just kind of putting pressure on that part. On strain, so stress, force. Let's go ahead and cross that off. Now, strain is going to be the change in the length of that area over the original length. So this is kind of like the change, like the delta of the length is what you would kind of talk about it scientifically. But on this one right here, we're going to simplify and just call this the length, the distance that it's moving when we're applying that force, right? So length, force. So now as we come over here, I'm going to cross this off and I'm going to say length. And on this one, I'm going to cross off and just say force. We're simplifying it. It's not perfect, but for this, conversation, this lesson, we're going to be simplifying it a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about these in little tiny pieces. We're going to break this all up. The first thing that we're going to do is that we have the concept as we apply more force, as I'm pushing more on the part, right? I'm going in the brake, I'm putting force on it from my punch. I'm going to have that part moving, right? So as I put force, as I go up this way, it also goes this way. And that's where we see that line kind of get drawn out. Now this line primarily is a very linear line. This is actually what we call the linear elastic region in the background. But this is the region in which if I push on my part and I get up here before it yields, I can let go of my part and it comes right back to where it was at. So I'm gonna go over here to this little bend rig that shout out to Kyle for doing this for us. But I have 4 different materials here that we're going to be kind of using to demonstrate. I have mild steel, I have 5000 series aluminum, 6000 series aluminum, and I have acrylic over here. Now, the topic that we were just talking about is that as I put force on it, it's moving, right? And so this one right here, I can put force, I can move it down, I can let go, and it comes right back to where I was at. Same with this one, right? Same with this one. Right, and I have to be careful on this one because we're going to talk about how this is a brittle material, but it's going to come right back to where it was at. So now coming back to the board, right, we talked about how I pushed on that force, comes right back, push on the force, and I can do this. Cycling it and stuff has other effects, but what we're seeing here is that this line, the slope of this line, or the rise and the run, dictates how much strength or how the strength of that material, right? So mild steel, being a stronger material typically, and that deal is going to have a much steeper slope than, say, a plastic that is going to bend, like polycarbonate, right? It's going to have a flatter slope. I don't have to apply as much force in order for it to deform. Now, something happens right here at this point, and we call that yielding. Right, so once I get over this point, if I continue applying pressure, almost no pressure ends up having some kind of deformation. Now, I don't really apply much more pressure, I'm just deforming now. And then as I apply more pressure, something ends up happening where I'm kind of going on a new curve. But now if I let off, the important thing is that when I let off, it'll bounce back, but not back to where it was originally at 0. It's now over here. And so this right here is a yield of that material. We're now outside of the linear elastic region. We're not bouncing right back. We're now yielding, and now we're actually bending the part. So we're gonna go back over to this bend rig. We're gonna do this a couple times in this lesson. Now, as I push on this material here, if I bend it down, I can feel it yield. If I bend it back up, see how it's sprung back up, but now I'm bent down, right? So I can, kind of keep pushing on it and bending it. I can feel it yield. It bounces back up, but I'm moving that line over and over and over on my length side, right? And so it's gonna continually yield and kind of bounce back, but yield and bounce back. And we're gonna do that over and over and over again. And all I'm doing there is I keep putting more pressure on it. I'm just moving this line over, and I'm changing that yield over and over and over and over again as I'm elongating that. Now, something ends up happening in which I get to a point in which it's the maximum amount of pressure that I could have put on that part to yield it. Once I get to this point, it's called the ultimate strength of that material. Anything after that, I'm actually applying less force to it. So I'm actually going down now on my force, and I'm still getting a yield in this area, right? And then what ends up happening is eventually it'll break. And this is the fracture point right here. Okay, so what we can do is we'll come back over here to this. On this particular piece of material, I'm not gonna actually be able to get it to the fracture point because of this material, but what I will be able to do is go past its ultimate strength. So here, I can feel my ultimate strength. It's bending. And see how it almost didn't spring back at all? It's because I'm not applying any more pressure. It's way past its yield. And now here, I didn't actually fracture it, but it's gonna be close to having that kind of, that result. All right, so now let's go into the next topic, which is now that we understand kind of what the material goes through during the bending process, right? So let's go over those concepts. The linear elastic region, this is the area in which I can push on it and it bounces back. Then I yield, it starts bending a little bit, then it bends more, and then it bends a lot more, and then it breaks. Different strengths of materials have different, curves and all that kind of stuff. Now, different materials though, depending on if they're brittle or they're ductile, don't have certain things. So brittle material typically don't have anything past the yield point. This yield point actually turns into a fracture point. And so what we see here is I have a line that has a lot of force and then it just breaks. It never yields. So on a brittle material, typically it just bounces back and forth in between the linear elastic region, and if you go too far, snaps. Versus this is the one that's ductile, so this is the one we just did with mild steel. And then you also have plastic materials that tend to just keep going, right? Like bubble gum or a rubber band, right? They kind of just keep going, and then they'll eventually break. And they don't really have any linear elastic region. You can kind of pull plastics and they don't really spring back. You can just kind of keep stretching them out. So now let's demonstrate that on a handful of materials here. So in the background, right, 5000 series aluminum, this is going to be a ductile material, right? This is a material that we offer here at SendCutSend to bend. And the reason why is that it's got an amazing area in which it yields, and it does that well without having that fracture point. So I can bend this down, right? Bent really nicely. You can actually see it took the bend. I almost have nothing in here. It put it all in this little area here. Great, malleable, ductile material. That's why we can bend it. I'm going to jump over the 6000 series aluminum. We're going to talk about that here in a second. We're going to move to acrylic. Now acrylic is different. I have that linear elastic region, but if I push on it too much, it snaps. So going back over here to this chart, that particular material is a brittle material. So this would be that acrylic that I just did. And the reason why we can't bend that is that there is no yielding point. Now, I know a lot of you would be like, well, if you heated it up, you used a torch or whatever, you'd be able to bend it. Yet what is end up happening in the background there is that we have, we're changing the molecular structure in the background. We're changing the bonds of the electrons. That allows us to have that yielding. And then when it cools off, it goes back to being brittle. So brittle materials, we're actually going to label this here brittle, are materials that we're not going to be able to bend, and it's because it has no yield, right? And then ductile materials has this very important area right here that we can play in, and it allows us to form that material. So we'll call this a ductile material, and that's kind of defining that area. Now there's some materials that they play a middleman game, and 6000 series aluminum is one of them. And so 6000 series aluminum, we hear often, you can bend 6000 series aluminum, but there's limitations to it, and that's because what ends up happening with it is that it ends up having a different chart that looks a little bit more like this, right? And this fracture point is generally speaking a failure, right? So it's failing, it's just coming apart. And that's why we see cracking in 6000 series aluminum. So it has a great, rise run. It's actually a little bit stronger. It's a little bit more of a brittle material. So it's gonna be a little bit steeper, and it has a yield point. And so what we can do is we can come to our last sample here, and I can show you that physically, is that as I bend this, right, it comes back up. That's our linear elastic region. As I bend it more, I start getting yield, and it springs back up. And as I bend it more and more and more and more, we can start seeing cracking occur in this area right here. So where this one right here has no cracking, it has that ductility that we need for the forming. This one right here is now having stress cracks that are coming through the material, and it will fracture in those areas. It's failing there. And so I reached it where at that top point of its strength, it's also failing at the same exact time. So now going back to K factor, we'll kind of wrap this up with kind of going backwards in our lessons. We talked about K factor being an important thing to make sure that you have in your bends, right? To ensure that your bends come out to the right flange length. We talked about that early in the lessons. Now, K factor is very, very closely related to this kind of concept of ductility and brittleness, where the relationship that rise and run has and how this yielding area is what changes that K factor. A more ductile material is going to see more stretch in that area. It's going to yield a lot more softly versus a much more brittle, stronger material, like say mild steel is going to have say 0.36 versus 0.44. And so that's how K factor is kind of in the behind the scenes a little bit more detailed is being affected. So that's it here for lesson 5. If you want pricing on your parts, drag or drop your step file to SendCutSend.com. While you're there, check out our merch store. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.